One of the most common questions I get from entrepreneurs is this a good business idea? And it's quickly followed by, what does it take to launch a business? This is the story of Dr. Thomas, a man with two passions, dermatology and entrepreneurship. Dr. Thomas has a successful medical practice, and now he's thinking of launching a services business. Now, you don't have to be a dermatologist to relate to what I'm about to go over. I'll be covering the challenges that Dr. Thomas is facing, as well as the recommendations I shared with him. And you'll learn that without proper planning and legal protection, your dream of starting a business could turn into a nightmare. So, when I sat down with Dr. Thomas to discuss his plans, I quickly learned that he's not short on hustle and hard work. As a matter of fact, he's been running his practice, his successful medical practice, for over 10 years, and he still has the time, the energy, and the resources to launch a new business. Now, what is his new business idea? He wants to offer a specialized diagnosis service to those who don't have access to quality care. And he wants to offer it in the US and internationally. And then he specifically asked, is this a good business idea? Whether I think the idea is good or bad hardly matters. I've heard ideas where I thought they're really good and they fail miserably. And on the other hand, I've seen ideas where I thought they're really bad, but they succeeded. What matters is not what I think or anyone else thinks. What matters is the market's opinion. So, can we figure out what the market thinks about the idea? This figuring out process is what we refer to as vetting your business idea. And this leads me to the first challenge that Dr. Thomas is facing. But before we get to the challenges, here's my 12-point readiness assessment of Dr. Thomas's business. I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs, and over time, I came up with this assessment to identify all areas of the business that an entrepreneur must review. And what I do is I help you assess what is going well, what needs some work, and things that need significant improvement. The green, the yellow, and the red. So what are the challenges facing Dr. Thomas? One of the biggest challenges facing Dr. Thomas is that he hasn't spent time with his potential clients, with his future patients. And a lot of the entrepreneurs fall into this trap. You have an idea, you think it's an awesome idea, but you don't spend enough time understanding your target audience. So understanding their needs, their wants, their desires, and also if they need that service that you're about to offer, and if they can afford it. And tied to this first challenge is also the lack of business planning. I didn't see a business plan, a written business plan. And I always advise entrepreneurs to start writing your business plan. This is related to vetting the business idea in the sense that you have to document how the service is going to be performed, who's going to be receiving the service, how it's going to be operated, how it's going to be priced, how are you going to market it, how are you going to sell it. And by the way, we do have a series on business planning. Check out the links below in the description. The third challenge is, and this is a big red flag, that Dr. Thomas has brought in two business partners, all based on verbal agreements. There's no documentation about who owns what the expectations are, roles, responsibilities, who makes decisions. Without proper documentation of all the above, these partnerships can and will fall apart. Finally, Dr. Thomas hasn't considered the legal aspect of establishing a business, especially when you're operating outside your state, internationally. Understanding the legal obligations and everything that to do with compliance is mandatory. Without it, you could expose your business to a lot of risk, to potential fines and lawsuits. So take care of the legal obligations before you start a business. Let me tell you, the challenges aside, a lot of good things are going for him. He has incredible work ethic and great resilience. One doesn't graduate from medical school and specialize without having these qualities. In addition, he's a go-getter. He knows he needs to put the time, so he has dedicated 20 hours a week to focus on this new business. And he's brought in two business partners so they can help him in areas he knows he's not good at. He's not good in technology, he's not good in back office, so these two business partners are gonna help him in this area. The third thing that's going for him is funding. Given that he's a successful physician, he's been around for 10 plus years, and that's important, he's been financially responsible. He set aside seed money for this venture. This way, he doesn't have to wait on investors. He knows he has a good runway, enough money to think about this business, research it, launch it, test it, and be successful at it. Yes, there are some formidable challenges that Dr. Thomas is facing, but based on my 12-point assessment, my goal is to help turn these red into green. So let's dive in. Recommendation number one, stop all the technical work. All this back-end work to build a platform to offer this service, that could be done later. initially we have to focus on vetting the idea, which is my second recommendation. Put a whole lot of energy, a whole lot of time into understanding the wants, the needs, the desires of your target audience. The fancy words we use in marketing, demographics and psychographics. Understand what makes these patients tick. What is it? Why would they reach out to you to get your service? Also, look at the competition. What are competitors offering in that area? How are they pricing their services? Is your services going to be differentiated based on price, based on quality, based on how you deliver it? All these are aspects of research and business planning that are required before you spend time and money on building a service. So if vetting the business idea is going well and there's evidence that this idea is viable and the target audience is willing for this service, this is the time to capture all this information and write it in this business plan. It's important at this phase, after all this vetting, to document it all in a business plan document. The next recommendation is to address the biggest red flags. Hire an attorney right away to protect your rights, your partner's rights, and document all of that in a shareholder agreement. I also recommend for Dr. Thomas to make sure that his business, his service, is going to be compliant with all state regulations, not only here in the US, but in every country he's going to operate in. And the last recommendation is to roll out the service gradually. This is more operational, but it's important. Instead of going from 0 to 100 in one scoop, pick one geography where you know more people in it, where you know how to market, and once you figure out how to do the service profitably, I think you'll do much better in rolling out the service across the different states and internationally. So let me tell you, while I've shared a lot of recommendations with Dr. Thomas, I'm confident he'll do well. He works hard, he has resilience, and he follows through. I hope you find my responses useful. Let me know in the comments what questions you have, what challenges you're running into, as well as the successes that you're having. If you have a question of your own, go to startupwithferris.com and submit the question on the Ask Ferris form. This will all be handled confidentially, and I'll be more than happy to respond to you. And to learn more about other founder stories, subscribe to this channel and like this video. See you next time. Some of the names and details have been changed to protect confidentiality.